The sun hung low over the Gulf of Mexico, painting the waves in shades of molten gold, when Officer Mark Hensley's voice crackled over the police radio, suspect in custody, heading to the drop point. In the back of the cruiser, 29-year-old Aisha Carter sat handcuffed, her sundress torn at the hem, her braids matted with sweat and salt. She hadn't said a word since they dragged her from the boardwalk in Biloxi, Mississippi, accused of stealing a tourist's wallet she'd never touched. The two officers up front, Hensley and his partner, Derek Voss, exchanged glances in the rearview mirror, smirks curling their lips like smoke. They weren't taking her to the station. They were taking her to the edge of the world, where the water turned black and the sharks waited. And if you're ready for a story that'll grip your heart and refuse to let go, hit that subscribe button right now so you never miss a single twist. The cruiser rolled to a stop on a deserted stretch of beach just past the city limits, where the dunes rose like ancient tombs and the only sound was the relentless crash of waves. Aisha's pulse thundered in her ears as Hensley yanked her out by the arm, the cuffs biting into her wrists. "You think you can scream racism and walk away?" he hissed, his breath sour with cheap whiskey. Voss laughed, a low, guttural sound, as he unlocked the cuffs just long enough to shove her toward the water. "Swim, princess. Let's see how far you get." Aisha stumbled, the sand burning her bare feet, and turned to face them. Her voice, when it came, was steady despite the tremor in her knees. "You're making a mistake." Hensley's response was a boot to her back. She fell forward, the ocean swallowing her scream as the cold water closed over her head. Down she went, the salt stinging her eyes, the weight of the world pulling her into the abyss. She kicked, clawed, fought the panic that threatened to drown her faster than the sea. Her lungs burned, her vision blurred, and then through the haze, she saw them. Shadows gliding beneath her, sleek and silent, their fins cutting the water like knives. Sharks, not one, not two, but a shiver of them, drawn by the commotion, the blood from a cut on her knee. Aisha's mind flashed to her grandmother's stories, whispered on the porch in New Orleans. "The water remembers, baby. It knows who belongs." She stopped fighting the current. Instead, she let it carry her, her body going limp as she sank deeper, deeper, until the shark circled but did not strike. One brushed past her, its skin rough as sandpaper, and in that moment she felt something shift inside her, a spark of survival, ancient and unyielding. Hours later, when the moon hung like a silver coin above the Gulf, a fishing boat named Second Chance cut through the waves. Captain Luis Morales, a grizzled Cuban exile with a scar across his cheek, spotted something bobbing in the water. At first he thought it was debris. Then he saw the flash of a yellow sundress, the glint of braids catching the moonlight. "Madre de Dios," he muttered, throttling down the engine. His deckhand, a lanky kid named Jalen, threw a life ring. Aisha's fingers, numb and pruned, grasped it with the last of her strength. They hauled her aboard, her body trembling, her lips blue. "Sharks," she rasped, collapsing onto the deck. "They didn't touch me." Luis wrapped her in a blanket, his eyes scanning the horizon. "You're lucky, Mia, or maybe you're something else." Back in Biloxi, the story was already unraveling. Hensley and Voss had filed a report claiming Aisha had escaped custody during a routine transport. They'd even staged a scuffle, torn uniforms, a fake blood smear on the cruiser's door. But they hadn't counted on one thing: a teenager named Kayla Reed, who'd been filming TikToks on the boardwalk that night. Her phone had caught everything: the cruiser's license plate, the officers' faces, Aisha's terrified expression as she was dragged away. Kayla uploaded the video at 2:17 a.m., captioning it, "This ain't right. #Justice for Aisha." By dawn it had 1 million views. By noon, 10 million. The hashtag trended worldwide, from London to Lagos, from Tokyo to Toronto. News helicopters buzzed over the Gulf, searching for a body that refused to be found. Aisha woke in a hospital bed in Mobile, Alabama, and dripping into her arm, the hum of machines a strange lullaby. Her first visitor was a lawyer named Tamara Brooks, a sharp-eyed woman in a navy suit who'd driven through the night from Atlanta. "They tried to kill you," Tamara said. "No preamble, and the world's watching." Aisha's throat was raw, but her voice held steady. "Then let's make sure they don't get away with it." Tamara slid a tablet across the bed. On the screen was Kayla's video, now at 50 million views, overlaid with Aisha's hospital photo, her eyes fierce, her jaw set. The caption read, "She survived. Now it's our turn." The trial was a circus. Hensley and Voss sat stone-faced in the defendant's box, their badges stripped, their lies unraveling under cross-examination. The prosecution played Kayla's video on a loop, the courtroom silent except for Aisha's recorded scream. Then came the twist no one saw coming. Marine biologist Dr. Elena Marquez took the stand. She'd analyzed the water samples from Aisha's dress, the bite marks on the life ring. "The sharks should have attacked," she said, her voice calm but electric. "But they didn't. The water around her was saturated with a rare bioluminescent plankton, emits a frequency that disorients predators. It's like nature built her a shield." The jury gasped. Hensley's face went white. Voss cursed under his breath. But the real bombshell came from Aisha herself. On the final day of testimony, she took the stand, her hospital gown replaced by a tailored black suit, her braids pulled back in a crown. She didn't cry, she didn't yell. She looked straight at Hensley and said, "You thought you were throwing me away, but the ocean gave me back." Then she played a video of her own, filmed on a GoPro she'd grabbed from the Second Chance's deck. It showed her in the water, surrounded by sharks, their eyes glowing in the dark. She was singing, not screaming, singing, an old spiritual her grandmother had taught her, "Wade in the water, children." The courtroom was pin-drop silent. The jury deliberated for 43 minutes, guilty on all counts. The aftermath was a wildfire. Aisha became a symbol, her face on magazine covers, her story a Netflix documentary that broke streaming records. She started the Phoenix Fund, a non-profit that trained black and brown women in ocean survival skills, swimming, diving, navigation. Her first class graduated on the same beach where she'd been dumped, the sand now lined with cameras and cheering crowds. Hensley and Voss rotted in prison, their appeals denied, their names synonymous with disgrace. But Aisha? She bought the Second Chance, renamed it Aisha's Revenge, and took it around the world, teaching, speaking, living. Years later, on the anniversary of her survival, Aisha stood on the deck of her boat, the gulf stretching endless before her. The scars on her knee had faded, but the fire in her eyes burned brighter than ever. She posted a video to her million-subscriber YouTube channel. "They tried to drown me. The ocean said no." The comments flooded in, stories of survival, of justice, of hope, and at the end of every video she asked the same question: "From which part of the country are you watching this?" The answers poured in, a map of resilience stitched together by a woman who refused to sink. The story didn't end with vengeance. It ended with Aisha diving into the same waters that had nearly claimed her, a camera strapped to her chest, a school of dolphins trailing her like guardians. She surfaced with a grin, water streaming from her braids, and looked straight into the lens. "The sharks didn't want me," she said, "because I was already home." And somewhere, in a prison cell in Mississippi, Mark Hensley watched the video on a smuggled phone, his hands shaking as the woman he'd tried to erase became a legend the world would never forget. From which part of the country are you watching this video?